Hey guys, before we start today's episode, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of you. We've gotten so much great support recently and amazing feedback, so thank you. To show our support back to you, let us know if you've given us a written review or a 5-star review. Shoot us a DM, send us an email at dothepastino@yahoo.com, and we'll be sure to send you a free sticker. Again, give us a 5-star review or a written review, and we'll send you a free sticker. I hope you enjoyed the episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Do. Been a great week, and I've been excited to showcase Helderberg Bourbon from New Scotland Spirits. I started seeing these guys pop up on social media and in my liquor store in upstate New York here. And coincidentally, on Father's Day, I ended up meeting the owners at a local orchard for a Father's Day event and was eager to try the spirits. And I got to tell you, I was a little speculative because when especially a New York company says they're making bourbon, usually when I taste it, it's very young and it's not that appetizing, frankly, because they don't age it long enough. And I got to tell you, when I was talking to, Evan, he explained that you guys didn't launch the bourbon till it was mature after 5 years. So that really got me excited. And when I tried it, it was freaking amazing. I was like, holy cow, like you guys are in the game. So I want to introduce Jesse Sommer, the CEO owner, and Evan Dimitriadis, the chief of marketing and co-owner. Guys, welcome. And you can see they were got some stash out there for us.
Yeah. Well, it's more for decorations. I figured that, at the very least, give the audience a sense of what it is we produce. But if you actually want to taste it, you're going to have to come to one of our tastings or pick us up on the shelves. And I'll just say very quickly, you can't go wrong doing it because, to your point, Ron, we didn't get into this to put out an inferior product. I know that sounds like a cliche, but the reality was we would not have done this, and we would not have figured out the mechanics of the business model if we weren't putting out a product that would do our hometown proud. I mean, it's called New Scotland Spirits with the Helderberg whiskey line, and that, we took that seriously. We knew that if we were going to trade traffic on our jurisdictional branding, on our hometown, that we had to do something that would bring esteem to that entire community, the community that raised us. And so, we've really taken that. Like, I mean, literally just today, the reality is, we're not in this to come up with a company that's valued at anything less than, give us 35 years, $10 billion. Like, we're not putting out whiskey that's anything less than 5 years. 5 years being what we've decided after, pulling samples out of the barrels. That's like when we looked at each other and we were like, yup, absolutely. This right here, this is where it gets good.
Yeah, absolutely. We found that I think the youngest we will do is 5.
Right?
Absolutely. That's the absolute youngest. And so far, so good. Every one of the 4 that we put out initially has been amazing. When I first tasted these, not that I had my expectations low, but they fully exceeded everything that I could imagine them to come out. And for our first time around, I think we hit the ground running quite well.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, you texted me yesterday about that rapid aging thing, right? I think this is something we'll talk about offline, but I actually think even at this point, even if we could figure out how to use new technological processes, of which I'm totally skeptical anyway, to come out with a whiskey that is aged fewer than 5 years, I would still say that, like, in terms of like the spirit of the company, having it aged in New Scotland for 5 years is like how we birth it.
Oh,
like that,
100%.
It almost makes it more special the longer it's in the barrel.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I mean, the flavor you get from it, from leaving it in. I'm skeptical as well. The two-year process.
There's like there's 2 years.
I was kind of surprised at the taste of that, but
good on them. I mean, bottom line is, I think 5 years, to Evan's point, like, that's the youngest, and the way you do that, I mean, we could, Ron, if you were interested, we could talk about how we put together a business model that allowed us to afford the demand of having product distilled that you can't move for more than half a decade. And it wouldn't even have really been possible, but for the fact that, you know, I was in the military, had this time to burn while we were waiting for me to get out. You know, my buddy Patrick, our buddy Patrick, who we known kindergarten through senior year of school, you know, he was another new Scot. He was the person who really had an understanding of this industry, kind of actually helped us germinate the seed. And now I noticed earlier, it was, you know, you gave us titles, certainly maybe a recognition of the type of faculties that we're bringing to the project. But at this point, what's kind of cool is that it's a collective of like 8 of us. The 6 of them are New Scots, like from the town of New Scotland. And we're basically kind of plugging in, like, where can we be assets? How can we get this product out first to, originally our intention was just our neighbors, our community, but now it's like, I mean, everyone loves it. And so now it makes us proud. And so now we're trying to share that hometown terroir with, at the very least, the rest of Albany County and New York, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys, I'm excited for you. And, you know, when we spoke last Sunday, I brought up the word passion to you guys because I tasted it right off the bat. Like, what you have done and your business model is ingenious. It's exactly, you know, the kind of mindset I was actually thinking about. And when I was kind of toying around with, you know, possibly doing a similar venture, but man, I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited to, like, I sip it every night since I had the bottle since Sunday.
Which bottles what did you grab?
I got the bottle and bond.
Yeah.
The bourbon. Yeah. And hey, my wife, her tasting ability is like second to none. I literally think she could go to Kentucky in one of these bourbon competitions and be a taster.
Here's the thing.
She gave 100% great reviews because that was like, I'm a good taste, but man, I was waiting for her. She was out of town. She got back last night. She tried it. Woke up this morning. I'm like, that's the first thing I freaking asked her. What'd you think of the Helderberg bottle and bond? She goes, it's good. I go, yes.
So that's we're 3 for 3 with your family members then. You
Yeah.
got you, your wife, and your son. Go sing.
Bryce Evan had some.
Send me a bottle. What the heck? I'm jealous.
I'll get you a bottle, Bryce. I'll bring
let me just say one thing, Ron. All right, and like, I don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I obviously appreciate the compliments, but like, we already know we're better than your average Kentucky bourbon. Like, we already know that our bourbon is, as far as second to none. I'm not saying that. That is, people, like, we're selling out of our bourbon, but that's because people are not experiencing what is the New York birthright, because everyone is so inculcated by the cult of bourbon in America. And that's great. We got 2 more bourbons coming out.
Yes,
the Bloody Butcher bourbon, the big box bourbon. Like, we're excited to put those brands out because of the nuances of how we age them and what grains are going into it, the grain bill, and like how we're finishing them then. But like the barrels themselves and the different chars that we're using. But like, we're from New York. How do I educate people to look at our ryes? Because our rye whiskey, our Empire Rye whiskey, is incredibly special. Wait till you see the. We're not even gonna tell you the other one that's coming out yet.
Nope.
But like, you know, it's like, yeah, I got it. The bourbon's great. The bourbon, I got it. But I also want to make sure that I can have you graduate to the legacy of being a New Yorker, which is rye whiskey and that spicier taste.
Yeah, the Empire Rye in particular, they're making, ryes in general are making a comeback. You know, they were huge before Prohibition. They're really coming back. But, you know, New York's special. We've got our own rye called the Empire Rye. I think minimum has to be 75% rye. Ours is that 75% rye, 20% corn, and then 5% barley mash. Ours in particular is a very unique one. I wasn't huge into them. There's been a couple though that have gotten me to actually take notice, and I am happy to say that ours is one of them. Yeah, they're quite interesting.
It's like it's less a sales pitch at this point, and it's more like dogma.
Well, it's something that needs to be experienced.
That's right,
for sure. And if you're making your Manhattans with anything but our rye, you're losing out.
Yeah, I got to tell you, when I tried it, I was like amazed how good it was, and I brought up to you that I've had probably the highest rating whistle pig rye. You guys got me. So I told you I had a really high end whistle pig rye, the real expensive bottle. I had a taste of it, and it was good. But yours is better, and I'm just being objective and totally honest.
It's crazy. It's crazy to hear that.
It's wild because our favorite rye, and like I would even say, I mean, you'd be a lunatic if you said that any other rye was. I'll give it to you. Whistle Pig is a brilliant brand, brilliant company, and I will say that pound for pound, at least that rye, I would say that their piggyback 100% rye, 86 years. That is I would say that may be better than that rye. That, I'll give it to them.
Right.
But Ron, if you like that, and we don't have to turn this into a rye show. I just want to point out that if you like that, wait till February or March. We got to figure it out.
Yep,
right. When we're big things are coming, Ron. And right.
They do.
Well, we're excited to, as we grow together, showcase each other, and we look forward to when you guys launch, assisting you guys and kind of letting the audience know what else you got going on.
I'm good. Roger that.
Yeah. Hey man, like I liked your ride better than all the Whistle Pigs.
That's huge. Yeah. Thank you so much for saying that.
We did not pay Ron to say that.
Right.
Fact, we barely.
There was more flavor. There was a uniqueness to it I can't explain. And then I asked Evan, where do you get the water? Because that's a big proponent in spirits is the water. And I was shocked what you said. So where do you get the water?
You want to take this?
Yeah. So our water is, and for whatever it's worth, because of the manner in which we do our distilling, we operate with a series of different distillers. And so our water is going to be local to Albany County. No matter what you do, our water is coming from Albany County Municipal, or I guess also Bethlehem. Schenectady right now, everyone gives Schenectady so much grief. But in fact, if you're drinking this and you happen to like the flavor, we can't just say that it's the grain and the terroir of New Scotland. We also got to give a shout out to Schenectady.
Yep.
Because Schenectady Municipal, that extra tang, that's what keeps this thing moving.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's badass, man. Hey, we've all heard like New York City water is the best water, especially for pizza. Man, I'll tell you what, upstate, Capital District water may be the key to bourbon.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're, and in fact, this is a freebie for all would-be distillers. If you're not using water that is practically radioactive, thanks to the industrial legacy of Schenectady, wrong answer.
Right. I'd like to try out the East River at one point.
That's right.
Yeah, the East River is quite alluring, so we'll see.
East River Rye.
Sometimes you can overthink things, right? You just freaking do, man. Real quick about your backgrounds, guys. Cliff notes, and then I want to see what your word is.
You want to take it?
All right. Really quick. Born and raised in New Scott. Followed my future wife down to New York City. Lived in Brooklyn for about 12 years. Shot a bunch of video, film stuff, photography. Did some sales. Also, coming back, helped my uncle run his wine shop, where I kind of learned the ins and outs of the liquor business, at least the sales end. That was prior to going to Brooklyn. And then when I come back, I'd help out. Came back, keeping in contact with Jesse. I was aware of what he was planning. At first, they were throwing around the idea of doing some brewery stuff,
Right.
And then he and Pat, I'm happy he and Pat decided to do this. I think it was a way more focused venture. There's a lot of people making beers, There was a lot of people distilling too, not as many, there are more than I thought in the capital region, but came back and got involved with the company and haven't looked back.
Yeah, and for whatever it's worth, like, just because I'm looking, we're able to see ourselves on like this show,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just weird, like, seeing you with this beard and like you're an old man now. I've known Evan since the first day.
Punch to the heart.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Bryce. I've known Evan since the first day of kindergarten on bus route 6, and I think this is also this is probably where we should just not even just to give them the due recognition and shout outs, but just to let everyone understand what about these products make this so special. Like, it's not just my buddy Pat, right? It's Evan and me from, again, I mean, all of us, kindergarten through 12th grade. It's Brian Kafka. It's Rebecca Miller, who, married Randy Miller, also on Cliff Road where we grew up. The Millers are now, if you count their kids, 5th generation operators of Limekiln Farm.
Mm-hmm.
His brother Albert. Ryan Lombardo, who's just a craftsman of the first order. He's with us as well. My buddy John Berquist tossed some money into the company. I've known him since Serendipity Nursery School, represent. And then I got like a legit hero, one of my paratrooper buddies from the 82nd Airborne Division. He jumped in as well. And then we've got a guy by the name of Brian Mcgregor. I mean, just brilliant artist.
Mm-hmm.
It's we kind of give him this sense of like, hey, this is what we think of New Scotland. And we send him some pictures of like our hometown or whatnot. And he comes up with these unbelievable frescoes of like, this is what New Scotland looks like. This is a view from the Helderberg Escarpment down at the Empire Plaza in Albany. And this is a dude who's, I don't even think he's been to New Scotland, but he's basically an honorary New Scot at this point. He's imbued with the mythology of this small town bucolic community that raised us.
And we're quite lucky to have Brian.
Yeah, it's a group of people at this point who have come back together after going their own ways, and it's like I don't take for granted the fact that I am still hanging out with Evan 34 years 34 years
Very cool.
since we used to get in trouble on the bus together. I mean, it really is like it's not just the grain, not even just the water. Like, the reason this thing has come to fruition, and potentially, Ron, the reason why your ambitions didn't get that same power-charged shot that ours did, is because this was not a single person enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
This took all of the blood, sweat, and tears of a community of friends that decided that something about what kept us together or what brought us together was worth celebrating and commercially exploiting. So
Yeah, no, that is it's a great story, and I'll bring the word up again. I sense it in you guys, the passion behind it. It's very visionary, and I like that too. You're thinking things out properly. You're letting people, like, delegating, the artist friend with just coming up with this fabulous label that he came up with. And as I see it, I know the area, and I'm like, that's freaking spot on, man.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And also to that end, Ron, I guess, because I don't want to overlook, thanks to the Schenectady Distilling Company and Ken Gibbons, who's just been a consummate, ally in this, and the Albany Distilling Company, brand that, I obviously deeply admire and respect. It was the first distillery in Albany since Prohibition. John Curtin, who was the founder of Albany Distilling Company, weirdly took all this time to make sure that we get stood up as a company. I mean, we literally and legally would not be here absent his largesse and his team and colleagues over at Albany Distilling Company. I'm trying to make sure that like I've given all the pieces about how big this local community was to put this together. I feel like I don't want to, between the farms, there was Hudson Valley Malt, Indian Ladder Farms where you saw us. Oh my God, what am I talking about? Indian Ladder Farms, which gave us 100% of this barley. It's 100% single malt, and we wouldn't have this barley but for Indian Ladder Farms where you met us.
Yeah, that single malt is to die for.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It is freaking sinfully good. You know what I'm getting out of you guys is humility. And I always say take your vitamin H, and that means humility. And I see that in you guys, and the recognition you want to give the collective team that's part of your product. I mean, that who you guys are, and the way you're thinking is a recipe for success. So, man, I'm rooting for you, excited for you, and looking forward to
quick point, and then I'll shut up. But this something you said I really want to address, which was like I'm prepared to accept your praise when it comes to being humble about the team, but I want to be very clear that if you've taken anything about us as a sign of humility, you've missed the mark, because there's nothing better than this whiskey on the market. There's nothing better. I'm letting you know right now. You want to play us on a taste for taste, blind taste on our bonded bourbon? Bring it on. Bring it on. I'll supply the cups. Yeah. I'll supply the cups. Come on down. Yeah.
And I love that too, and just being very proud of what you guys made, and man, I tell you, you are a contender, and I know that I will see you on the nationwide circuit. I keep track on the Kentucky lane, and I see the outside, states that provide some whiskey in there, and they don't compare to what you guys have.
Thank you, Ron.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, it's come to that point in the episode to where I ask you your one word. So whoever wants to go first, and why?
First, and then you can take it. So it took me a little bit, a couple of days to figure it out, but in the end, I don't know why I didn't just go with this initially, but I'll use, my word is creation.
Badass.
I've always been, anything that I've excelled in has to do with me being able to apply the creative side of my brain. Whether it be art, whether it be networking, whether it be whiskey, whether it be film or video, I flourish when I'm let loose creatively. So that is my word. It's just it's my pocket where I'm the most comfortable. That is the key to anything that I've succeeded in.
Love it, man.
Thanks.
Jesse, what you got, man?
So, Ron, you gave us the heads up that we needed to come prepared, but I didn't even need the advance warning. My word is home. And I'm going to tell you right now that you pull out a thesaurus, home is the only word you need. Home is blood. Home is loyalty. Home is family. Home is friends. Home is the path to commercial success. Everything it starts off at home. And for those people that don't have the luxury of a home, they don't have the privilege of a place where your heart's at, that don't have the honor of a little corner of the planet where everybody knows your name. It kind of sounds self-serving to say it, but like, pick up a bottle of whiskey and like become a part of this community. Because a lot of the interesting things about the conversations we have at our farmers markets, it's where people feel the glow of what we're presenting when we talk about the story behind this. And like, there's plenty of room. I feel like this probably isn't the right venue to talk about some of our mission, our social mission, but suffice it to say that there are people from our home that we've discovered needed a little bit of help. And like, we're structuring the company to be able to assist those people, because that's what home has done for us. It has literally, it's given us the grain to make this product. It's given us the people to build the business, and it's given us the mission set to make it all worthwhile. So, you know, a lot of people, everyone has certain things that you know, are philosophies that they develop over the years. And what I'll just say is, like, I'm glad that over the course of my life, the one thing that we can say has been a constant is home. And Evan and I and Patrick and John and Kafka and Chris and Brian, the entire collective, like, we're making our last stand there and taking our first steps at home. And we're not going to let the world take a single acre of our pristine, beautiful agrarian fields from which we get all the grains in our whiskey.
I love that word too, man. Well said. Freaking, I learned from every episode. And I just learned from you too. Bryce, you got anything?
Before the episode started, I always open the Zoom link about 20 minutes before the allotted time, just to make sure everything on the technical side is up and running. And about 15 minutes before we were supposed to record this, these two goofballs hop on the Zoom, and I'm like a mess. I'm like cleaning my room up. My microphone's not plugged in. And then I hear you on the phone. You're talking like, I only have the Zoom link. I'm like, all right, they're there to beat me to the punch. So that says a lot about them as people and as a company. And I think it shows it shows you care a lot. And I really appreciate that. And I think that's a great trait to have when starting your own company and as people. And I really look up to you guys for that.
Thank you, Bryce. Appreciate you, man.
Bryce,
Let us know next time we're peeking into your bedroom.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had no idea.
Yeah,
I think I did
clear.
see you at one point cleaning your room. And I was
I had
wondering
all
what
these
wrong.
clothes all over the floor. I was like, oh God, this is a disaster. But yeah, it worked out well.
Sorry about that, buddy.
No,
Bryce
it's
thought
okay.
it was some frat brothers pulling out some liquor.
Yeah. That's right.
Bryce, do we got a WWRD question?
Yes, we do. Bill from Florida asks us, I just lost a family member and I'm having a problem coping. Do you have any recommendations? WWRD.
Bill, appreciate you confiding in us and kind of having the gumption to actually speak up about that. A lot of people hold it in. Couple things, and I'll pass it on to the group after I say what I have to say. Get outside, get a walk. If you do PT, that's number one, the best thing. If you don't, get out there and do some walking. Try not to be alone. Try to be with some family members and or some friends, and just try to keep your mind moving forward. And at the end of the day, we have to keep moving forward. That's all we can do, and we just try to adjust. And it's good to actually talk about this and let it out and express your feelings. I learned that, the hard way through, 24 years in, special operations. And then finally somebody taught me like, oh, you need to do this. I'm like, oh, this actually works. So please take advantage of that. Jesse, Evan, you got anything?
I do. I totally agree with you in this, being able to talk with people. When you keep things bottled up, it's never helpful. It might feel okay for a little bit, but eventually it'll be almost like a powder keg ready to explode. So yeah, definitely find someone to speak with. Be there for the rest of your family. Last year I lost my grandfather, the grandfather who owned the wine shop that my uncle also runs. Hard worker. It was a big loss for me and everybody else. And, all I can say is, it'll never get easy not having somebody around. Never. So just keep them in mind, stay busy, because being busy, it helps, when you don't have anything to do, all you do is, sit inside and, think on things. And it's not good. You can't wallow in pain, So I am sorry for your loss. But all I can say is try to make whoever you lost proud. And that's that.
Yep.
Yeah, well said.
Let me also piggyback because, you know, Pat lost his father within the last year. And I can't even comprehend that. And what I think I'll just say, having just the last 10 years of my life, life is a suck fest from start to finish. For some people, it's going to be worse. It's not a competition. Bottom line is, you know, you're kidding yourself. You've deluded yourself successfully if you think that every day doesn't have its fair share of miseries. And I can't even believe that, you know, our buddy Pat is able to kind of process the loss of his father and move forward. And what I would just say to kind of bring this full circle is keep this in mind. You know, like, water made life possible, but whiskey makes it tolerable. And as much as I appreciate Ron's suggestion that you get out there and do some PT, equally as helpful is coming back into the kitchen and pouring out a little bit of Helderberg bourbon.
Love it, man. Great advice. Bryce, you got anything?
It's just staying busy, you know, keeping active. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, well, I really appreciate you taking your valuable time to come on the show. We're excited to see where you're headed, and we're excited to try all your new products as they come out. And you know, that'll be a staple in the Pastino household for sure, and the extended Pastino family. And look forward to seeing you guys soon. And thank you for what you do. And everybody part of Team Do, get out there and get something done this week and spend some time with your family and get out in nature and do later.
Thank you, guys.